know the Colts right now and the organization is not what it was with Peyton Manning. It wasn't what it was when Andrew Luck was there. And they thought that Anthony Richardson was the savior when they drafted him in the first round. Remember, when he was drafted, a lot of people were questioning if he was a first-round draft pick. He was drafted the way he was drafted because of his arm strength and the non-accuracy that he had playing college football for 1 year, and his legs. He had unbelievable ability to get out of trouble on a football field in college. The problem right now in the NFL is everybody's fast. Everybody can compete, and everybody has speed. Ask Tyreek Hill, as he thinks he can outrun an Olympic runner. So obviously the culture in the NFL is completely different from the NCAA. Now, Pat McAfee coming out and taking shots at the Colts fans and obviously the organization as a whole, he's not wrong. The Colts fans are all over the place. But guess what? All fans are all over the place. We've heard many, many times in many different issues over the years with the Seattle Seahawks fans. Remember that? The 12th man and the whole Russell Wilson, them trying to run Russell Wilson out. They ran Russell Wilson out. They had Geno Smith. And Geno Smith, what has he done over the last couple of years? He's done nothing. Yeah, they've made the playoffs. Have they done anything in the playoffs? No. When Russell Wilson was there, they actually won a Super Bowl and actually went to 2 Super Bowls. Now, was it Russell Wilson? It was the Legion of Boom. But Russell Wilson was a winner. You look at the organization of the Colts. This is an organization run by a guy that had a drug problem. It's also run by an organization that has given up on their team. They took their team from Cleveland all the way to Indianapolis. So we all know the back end of the organization as a whole. Now, as far as Pat McAfee is concerned, Pat McAfee, when he says something, everybody listens. Why? Because the guy has one of the best shows in America when it comes to football. And he was a football player. He knows a little bit about the game. And he is going to feel a lot about his team because he obviously lives in Indianapolis. He roots on the Indianapolis Colts. And he grew up as a football player in Indianapolis as a professional athlete. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts as a whole and what they did on Sunday, that was embarrassing. How do you play the New York Giants, who obviously have been the worst team in the NFL, and lay up a lousy goose egg? Now, I do believe their coach is one of the more underrated coaches in the NFL. Now, coaching has a lot to do with the NFL. I've said this. You can have the most talented team. Look at the New York Jets. If you don't have the right coach, you're not going to win. The Giants yesterday played a fantastic game. They put up fantastic numbers. Neighbors showed you why he was a top first-round draft pick and why he's one of the best young wide receivers in football. All in all, the Giants had no issues putting up points against the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts yesterday defensively absolutely fell apart. This is an organization over the years have had talented pass rushers, talented secondaries. This has been a good defense over the years. Now, if you look at what their defense has been in the last 3 seasons, it hasn't been as good as it was in the early 2000s, in the mid-2000s. It's completely fallen apart. And offensively, the team can't stay healthy. Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy. This is an organization that set themselves back. Why? Because Anthony Richardson isn't the answer. Now, what do they do going into this year's draft? Do they give up on Anthony Richardson? Do they trade Anthony Richardson? Do you make a trade for a Bryce Young and take a chance with Bryce Young? I don't know what this organization is going to do in the offseason, but I will say this. When you hear about what this organization stands for and where this organization has gone over the last couple of years, it tells me one thing, and it speaks volume of where this organization is going to go in the future. This is an organization that trusts too much in the players. The players are not putting up the numbers and the money that they've invested into. An offensive line that at one point a few years ago was one of the best offensive lines in football. This year has not been. They have not protected their quarterbacks. It doesn't matter whoever is behind the line of scrimmage and starting for them as their quarterback. They're not blocking. They're not doing anything right. And now the organization has set themselves back. And again, going back to what a guy like Pat McAfee said, your problem with Pat McAfee, and I'm going to say this nice, and I'm going to be very nice to Pat. Pat is an Indianapolis Colts fan. He supports what Indianapolis does as far as their football team, as far as their race carring and everything. Everything that they do, Indianapolis is on his mind. The Colts are not the worst football team right now in the NFL.
No.
The Colts right now don't have the problems the New York Jets have, or the Cleveland Browns have, or some of these other teams that have not really done what they were supposed to do. You look at the Jets. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. What has Aaron Rodgers done for him? Nothing. He's done nothing. He's put up numbers, and this team is falling apart right in front of our eyes. It doesn't matter who they trade for. You bring in Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is great. He's putting up numbers. But for some reason, I look at the Jets right now. They're the sixth best defense in all of football. Sixth. And they're still getting killed. Look what Buffalo did to them the other day. The Colts yesterday just showed me one thing. They gave up on the season. They're giving up. And does that mean the coach should be fired? I don't think the coach should be fired, but we all know what the owner likes to do, and he likes to maneuver the team. It doesn't matter who the coach is and how long the coach is going to be there. If he's not Tony Dungy, or if he's not one of those guys that he absolutely falls in love with, he's going to give up on him. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they fire their coach at the end of the season.